All right.
How's it going?
Going good.
Good.
You're looking at my shirt.
Yes, I am.
Not too put together?
No, I'm not. No.
Not impressed?
No, I don't think there'd be a second date.
Wow.
Just joking.
Wow. All right, let's get started.
Joking.
So this week we're going to talk about a couple of things. Oh, by the way, hi. I'm Jerry Pujals
I'm Susan Pujals.
with Homestead Real Estate here in the Napa Valley, and we just want to thank you for listening to us and talk a little bit about real estate in our own very special, unique, and organic way, because that's how we do everything. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
So we're talking about market updates from a seller's perspective, market update from a buyer's perspective, and where are things, what's the state of our market right now?
Right. Why don't you talk a little bit about the selling market,
The sellers?
the listings, what's happening
All right.
there?
So for sellers, what have we seen out there? I've seen sellers still doing well. I've seen us getting multiple offers. I think we do an amazing job at setting expectations for our sellers, educating them, and also helping them understand how to drive their property values up, either by doing things to the property and getting the property ready. We talked about how we lend people the money without no interest, and we have the resources to help them do all that. So I don't want to sound like a repetitive commercial, but we do that. And we're a plug and play solution. We're set up as a concierge to do that for a seller. Beyond that, I see that we're fortunate that our sellers take our advice based on the experience that we have, and we take them through a process by a strategy that we've been using now for some time to drive demand, drive curiosity to their property, ultimately getting a lot of eyes on the property. We're unique at how we do open houses. We do something that nobody else does for open houses. And if you'd like to know what we do that's unique, call us directly and we'll tell you about it. I don't necessarily want to put that out there, because then it seems like every time we do something, people just automatically copy it. So I want them to have to figure it out. I want the competition to have to figure it out on their own. I don't want them to, as much as I love the people that we work with in this valley, and we have a great real estate community and very healthy, with a lot of integrity, I also find that we do most things first. And then people follow. So being that that's the way it is, we do some things that are very unique for our sellers that drive traffic to their home. From the time we get that traffic, then it drives interest, and when it drives interest, then it generates multiple offers. From multiple offers, we leverage up, and in most occasions, over 90% of the time, we're getting multiple offers on our listings, and 100% of those are selling over the asking. And I might add substantially over the asking. So that's been great. That also drives, for me, it's an honor and a privilege to do that, because it drives the reviews that we as a company get on platforms like Zillow, Google, Yelp. All these platforms, people give us 5-star reviews, but they're based on solutions, and we have over 350, 360 reviews that are all 5 stars. So I want to keep us as a company performing that way. Our agents are all performing that way. They get the value of the customer, and how we have to ultimately just take care of the customer. Everything else takes care of itself once we accomplish that. So you might want to let our caffeinated friend walk in the door, have her come in. She's checking in with us.
Okay.
Go ahead, let her in. Or let her in. She's going to be able to sit on that side of the podcast. Come on in, Danielle. Come on in. Come on in. The lighting just changed a little bit. Be patient.
Right,
so,
we're rolling right now. It's all good.
Our accounting extraordinaire just walked in, so in the middle of a podcast. But this is an organic podcast, as we told you from the beginning. So there is, it's just what it is. So we're happy that she walked in and that we're gonna get to spend some time with her. But going back to sellers, I just think that there's still a lot of opportunity, that market has not dipped at all. And most people, right?
No, I agree with you. We were kind of chatting about this today, that, you know, the market maybe has stabilized just a little bit, but it's still multiple offers. It's still a really, really strong market. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and again, I always say, when I sit with sellers, and we just had a meeting a couple of weeks ago in Sonoma with a nice couple, and we talked about what they wanted to get for their property, and there was a strategy on how to get there. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people, it seems to me that it's start out with this high price and then work your way down, and a lot of times the high price discourages showings. And for me, the most important thing is getting people to come see the house, because you and I have seen over the years that what a buyer says he's willing to pay when they're sitting with their lender or accounting advisor, and what a buyer will ultimately pay when they're in the home and they feel and see themselves in it, it's apples and oranges. It's a totally different experience, and buyers don't know that until they walk into that perfect home. And a lot of times that's where a seller benefits from that. So you got to get the buyers there first.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
But why don't we talk a little bit about buyers and from through their lens, you know, you work with a ton of buyers, you know.
Yeah. Well, I see that there's probably some adjustments that buyers have had to make. I mean, example, you know, you have buyers out there, you know, $1.5 million, $2 million. They've had to make adjustments. You know, maybe they're buying at, you know, 1.1 or 1.2 now. There's still a lot of houses out there that are really nice in that price range as well. You like this?
It's very distracting for the audience, I have to say. Maybe I'll do it too.
Yeah, it's comforting.
It feels nice and comfortable.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Feels good.
It's good.
I feel like a little kid.
I'll do it for
like swinging.
Yeah, it does feel good.
But yeah, as far as it's making adjustments, it's creative financing too. There's a lot of creative things going on out there for buyers. I mean, asking for credits for closing costs, shopping around with different lenders. If you have a preferred portfolio and you're working with different companies that do that offer lower interest rates. I mean, there are a lot of people that offer lower interest rates with, you know, mortgage plans and things like that. So, and they're tied to different things. They could be tied to stocks. They could be tied to your 401k. And again, you'd have to talk to your financial and tax advisor. But there are still a lot of buyers out there. I think we lack inventory right now, really.
Well, I think one thing we shouldn't forget to mention, especially since our accounting extraordinaire just walked in, is in the room, and she knows nothing of this. So we, one thing that we're helping some of the buyers that we work with is with bridge financing. Mm-hmm. Depending on the amount and the situation. But if you're selling a property and you want to be competitive in a market that's still competitive, you may want to consider bridge financing. So then you're actually like a cash buyer when you're buying. You can close an escrow in 7 to 10 days and give your home time to sell, get those things in order, and then you really are a how should I say it, a well-qualified buyer that can compete against any other cash buyer. For example, we did one today that I'll be talking to Danielle about shortly, we did one today where the buyer has the property, they're selling for about $1.5 million, and they found a property that was beautifully appointed. It was just perfect, and not for a lot of money, they were able to get $900,000 in bridge financing to buy a $1.3 million house cash and close in, I think they're going to close in 2 weeks. They could have closed in 7, but they're going to close in 14 days because they have to liquidate their down payment. But that was something that they wouldn't have been able to get that property without that type of leverage, and we were able to help them with that. So I'm really excited about that. So we do have resources allocated for that. So if people are interested in that, just all they got to do is reach out. But I also want to go into, are you seeing people being priced out of the market? Because I am concerned about those people. And you know, I have a client that just called who may want to be selling her house shortly, and it's an entry level neighborhood. I'm going to say, what do you think that market is going for? About 550, 500,000, 550 maybe?
I think more.
Maybe more.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to find something here in Napa in that price range that is livable and doesn't need a ton of work right now. I mean, I think that the prices have exceeded that, and we're not really seeing that anymore.
Well, I haven't been on their property in probably 10 years, so we have to go and review what upgrades, what updates, if any, and then we can assess and give them an accurate property value. But you know, we understand that a mortgage payment on even $600,000, it's not cheap, you know, because of the interest rates and because of property values. Yeah. But you did talk about some programs. The county has a proximity program that has helped. About that, that's helped a lot of people out. Yeah. And the one thing is the rents are still aggressive. You know, you're still paying 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartments are between $2,500 and over $3,000 in some cases for some of the newer ones. Exactly. And that doesn't seem to be softening anytime soon. So I do bleed for the people that are working in town that are just paying for rent over $3,000 a month, and they can't write off any of it. Right. So I'll go back to the question that you asked me. Are some buyers being priced out? Yeah. Yes, some buyers are being priced out and it really depends on what their price point is. So say a buyer was maxed out at $700,000, but the rates were in the 3s and 4s. Yeah. You know, it was still affordable, but you know, the rates are quite a bit higher. So that person that maxed out maybe at 700 or 750 really probably qualifies maybe for 550. And you can't find anything here in Napa Valley for that price. Unless it's just a major fixer. And a lot of times those major fixers require cash. They're not. So we're creative people. So if one of those buyers happens to be one of our kids or somebody looking to get into a real estate into the real estate market because they're just starting out, what would be an option? Well, the option would be to bridge finance for them, right? Well, no, I wasn't going there. Oh, okay. Well, I have to come up with it, huh? Okay. I think, what would you think, Danielle? What would be an option?
Well, my first thought was a townhouse.
Okay, a townhouse, condo, that's an option. Mobile home in a family park. Sometimes those are seldomly available, but they do happen. Sometimes, yeah. And then how about neighboring towns, right? So geographically, Canyon, Susan, Susan, we've seen people buy in American Canyon at the right time. Yeah. Double their investment. And then come back into the city of Napa. Exactly. I mean, we have a client who we sold a property in Susan to. And it wasn't but about 3 years, so he had enough equity to come back to town. He ended up loving Susan so much that he's still there and he'll never come back because his house is newer and is perfect and he just loves it. But we have done probably dozens of those where people just started, just got into the market, picked up appreciation, all of a sudden got here, and they're just overjoyed. Yeah. So I think also for the younger people out there, you got to remember that you got to start somewhere, and their sacrifices got to be made somewhere, and sometimes it's in a commute, and sometimes, so true. What sacrifices haven't we made over the years when we were raising the 4 kids were little, and we just had to, I commuted to San Francisco to sell produce. Yeah. Those are the things that you do as a young person getting started. And work graveyard and build a business from nothing. You got to do some of the hard work. I mean, work has to go into it. For you young people out there, you got to feel the pain a little bit, but there is a reward at the end of it. So I encourage you to consider that as an option. I will also say, as I say one thing, I say another. I don't think real estate is for everybody. I don't think everybody should own real estate. I think if you're somebody who wants to travel, who wants to do things a little differently, I think being light on your feet and being able to move around, I think renting might be just a way for you to go, and then you can leverage other resources to grow your portfolio. Maybe you can invest in real estate from a management or an investment standpoint, but you don't have to live in the house that you own. You don't have to live in it. You can stay light and nimble if you want to.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've also seen people, not many, but I've also seen people where real estate and the repairs of real estate get overwhelming for them. When the house needs a roof and all this and that. That's where I give you all the credit in the world, because you're masterful at going through inspections, reports, doing deep dives, and making sure that people are well informed before they go in, so they know what this is going to be like. Or, like we always say with you usually end up getting that out of the seller and get it. You get most of those repaired, or you get a huge credit, and then people can use their own
resources.
Their own team to fit. If they have somebody in the family who's a contractor, if they have somebody they know that will do it for a lot less, then they have the money in their pocket to do it. So you're masterful at that. Yeah. Among many other things.
Thank you.
I had to say it. I had to say it.
All right, true. Well, what are we going to talk about next week?
I'm looking amazing. You're masterful at looking amazing.
Yes.
You know what that shirt reminds me of?
My childhood?
No.
Because it does remind me of mine.
Well, I'm telling you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of, and this is not to age us at all, but, and anybody young, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. It reminds me of Doris Day.
Yeah, that early 70s.
She would wear these, that goes back to the 60s. I mean, Doris goes back, cashmere and all that, right?
Gotcha.
Doris had it was the beautiful fuzzy look, the filter screen, she looked perfect. Nobody's using filter screens anymore, by the way.
Oh, well, we don't, but...
We don't.
I think a lot of people do.
I think a lot of people do. Okay, right. So interest rates, from what we heard from our preferred lender, did a little better last week. So that softened up a little bit, given a little relief. But I still think over the long term, real estate is a very safe bet. I think most people, in some cases, will do better over the long haul buying real estate. I've said this before on this podcast that, if any of us bought the overpriced properties that were on the market 15 years ago, we'd be better for it. Just the overpriced ones, not even the ones that are fairly priced. So think about that. So if you're buying a home and you're gonna sit with it, 2 to 5, 10 years, you're gonna be just fine. And it has withstood the test of time over the cycles and cycles and cycles of the markets. We're in a cycle.
We're in a cycle, right? You're right.
Anything else with a good?
What's the prediction of the next cycle? Since you've been in this business for almost 25 years.
Wow. Mm. I'm afraid to even say it now, because COVID made such a liar out of me. I thought I had a pulse, and I thought, that you and I have timed this thing right about 3 times, and we've done well over it. So historically, we've done really well every single time.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, but man, I am really hesitant to say, because I don't know. We have elections coming. We have things like that. So the variables are all out there. There is the war in Ukraine. There's a lot of uncertainty. I don't even. Yeah, COVID makes me because of COVID. I'm very hesitant to say. I know where we're at today. I have a sense of where you and I just bought a 5-plex building, so clearly we're feeling okay about buying real estate in this market. I think we got we paid a fair amount, and we got a fair price. But it wasn't like some of the in 2012, 2013 where you can buy things for such a discount. It's not that market.
Nothing like that.
But I will tell you one thing that I'm sure of: the property that we bought, the fiveplex that we bought, you know, it won't take 10 to 12 years to be worth close to double what we paid for it. You know, it is what it is. However, are we having to put money into it? A ton of money is going into that property because it had not had any upgrades for 30 years. So we're picking up that tab, but I think we're going to do really well. So super confident in the market, super confident in real estate. It's been very good to us, so I feel comfortable saying that much.
Okay.
So
yeah. What do you think we're going to talk about next week, or is it a stay tuned and see what happens?
I don't know. I think we can come up with a topic, but I hope for any of those who are watching that you can put something in the comments as to what you'd like to ask us or what you'd like to see us talk about. That'd be my favorite, to be able to talk about what people really want to hear. But I don't know. We can talk a little bit about real estate platforms, resources. We can talk a little bit about Zillow. Maybe we can talk a little bit about showing time. Maybe we can talk a little bit about all those platforms that are out there. Which ones are good? Which ones are not as good? Properties that evaluate your homes and your property values that are not too bad.
Right. Yeah.
So
they're getting closer. I think.
Yeah, just to give you a
I
sense.
think they're getting closer.
Nothing.
But not.
Yeah. Nothing's going to be like us walking
Like
into a
an
property.
aisle.
Yeah. And seeing upgrades and updates and all that. And actually, what I find interesting is that it's not always rational. I would say most of the time it's not rational. Most of the time is a connection with the home and emotionally understanding what a buyer may feel when they walk through that property. Because what you and I like about our sector of the business, which is residential, we do some commercial, we do a lot of investment properties, but the bulk of what we do as Homestead Real Estate is residential. And what we love about it is that it is emotional, and that people are buying homes with their heart, not necessarily with a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And I find that to be fascinating and a lot of fun and super rewarding. So, and by rewarding, outside, you know, financially it is what it is. It's good, but emotionally it's really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, is that a wrap? That's a wrap.
It's a wrap.